Welcome to the Cosbomb Munn. Tonight we're going to have a little adventure that goes beyond the world of COVID-19. We're going to the world where women are always sequestered, where they are not allowed out of their homes or out of their family compounds unless they were with a male escort from their own family. So, we don't have it so bad, folks. Anyway, my name is Baseem, as you all know, and that means smiling face. When I was getting into all of this music and all of this world, you have to have the proper name. So I do smile, and I smile especially when I'm with my grandmother, my mother, my sisters, my cousins, my aunts, and we get together for tea and talk, and of course we get together for dance. Now, each of the Middle Eastern countries and all the tribes, each has its own style, its own costumes, its own type of music, its own type of dance and different steps. So what I'm going to show you today is just a little bit that is kind of generic. But the first Egyptian belly dancers were probably the Gawazi. And back in the 1800s, they were very popular. All these gypsies all over, and they were dancing. But then in about the 1830s, they were kicked out of Cairo and went on to the Middle East and to Europe. And let me show you a picture. This is my American friend, Mary Ann. This is when she was in a Gawazi outfit doing a dance. And as you can see, she has the big baggy pantaloons, a big baggy shirt with big open sleeves, and a one-piece jumper that covers everything. And then she has her hair covered. That's a Gawazi style. As you can see, her sleeves are very much open. That means she's from a very rich family. She doesn't have to do her own housework. The Gawazis with the tighter sleeves, they're on their hands and knees doing their own housework as well as doing the dancing. But the roots of all of this dance goes well beyond the Middle East. Think about ancient Greece. Women dancing to Aphrodite, who was known, of course, as Venus in other cultures. And there's folkloric dancing for eons and eons. Think about the Russian Cossack dancers, about ballet folklorico in Mexico, about the Bulgarian dancers. They're all ethnic folkloric dancing. Now, Middle Eastern dancing, of course, as you may have noticed, is very different from the Western dancing here in the United States and European countries. You all concentrate on your legs and your feet. Well, in the Middle Eastern dancing, we concentrate on isolation and on our torso. Belly dancing is not really about the belly. It's about the isolation. It's about moving only what you want to move, and that's what we'll work on a little later. So you don't have to be flat abs. You can have a belly. It's perfectly fine. The American standard of beauty is more of like a ballet dancer. Very strict rules, very strict body fat percentages, not so with belly dancing. So don't worry about that no matter what you look like. In fact, in the Middle East, softness and femininity are much more important. And how you emote, how you think about things as you're dancing, how you feel about life, much more important than slim figure, which is a really good thing. But belly dancing can provide toning and exercise, but it is a sensual dance, and it does embrace a woman's curves. It can be done to any music. The music you're hearing now is more Middle Eastern, but that isn't the only kind of music that people dance to. Now, my American friend Mary Ann, let me tell you a little bit about her history as far as belly dancing goes. About 47 years ago, she had a baby. And like a lot of new moms, she gained a lot of weight. So she decided this is not good. She went to Weight Watchers and she went to a belly dancing exercise class. And she did great. She was able to change toddlers all over the place. So then, a few years later, the family moved to Europe. Well, what do you do in Europe? You eat. Oh, I'll never have that again. I'll never have that again. And well, Mary Ann gained a lot of weight. Sad to say. So, there in Montgomery, Alabama, she found a teacher who did a belly dancing exercise class. She and her girlfriend Liz had a blast at that. They just had such a good time. Lost weight, along with Weight Watchers again, and the belly dancing exercise. So a year later, Mary Ann's family moved to Maryland. She went to a local teacher who'd been recommended by the lady in Alabama. And Shalimar said, we don't do belly dancing exercises classes. We do belly dancing. We make costumes and we put on shows. Mary Ann said, but I just want an exercise class. Shalimar said, we make costumes and we put on shows. Well, Mary Ann signed up for the first month and became almost instantaneously hooked. She just loved the enthusiasm of the ladies. She loved the camaraderie. It was super. And that's actually how I met her. Now, Mary Ann and her friends, and me as well, we all did lots and lots of shows all over Prince George's County, which is where she lived at the time. And these are some of the pictures from the shows she's been in. They danced at the county fair. They danced at nursing homes. They danced at the WAMIDA, which is the Washington Area Middle East Dance Association. They had recitals at least twice a year, a lot of little private things. Her teacher, Shalimar, had summer camp. What a great reason to take off 3 days from work for a 5-day belly dancing class with some internationally known teacher. It was just so much fun. Anyway, Mary Ann doesn't just dance either to Middle Eastern music. She also danced to things like Perfect Hit, to the Eagles, and to Eric Clapton. So what's important is the beat, not the music. So what we're going to do is we're all going to now do some belly dancing. Just simple things. So I want you all to stand up. I want everybody up. I see one. That's good. Start. That's a start. That's good. Okay, now I asked you to bring a big scarf, so tie that around your hips. And the reason you want to do that is because you want to see which way your hips are moving. Right? Okay. All right, there you go. You might have to adjust your camera a little bit, but just so long as you can see me, I can see you kind of, and that's good too. So, but if you have questions as we go along, just let me know. So, we're going to do a few things, but I want you to just trust your body, keep that scarf on your hips, and we're going to go through posture, hip lifts, large hip circles, figure eights, a vertical chest lift, a head slide, and hands. So I have my comedian in the back row over here who's not standing up. He's just doing the moves back there. He doesn't want to show off, but that's just, anyway. Okay, so first off is posture. So what you want to do is you want to stand up straight. You want your shoulders down. You want your head to be straight. You want your tush under your hips, and you want your feet about a hip's distance apart. You want your chin up slightly, your arms are graceful, and you smile. This is fun. So everybody get a big smile out there. So that's the first thing. Does everybody feel comfortable with that? Okay, now try to move your hips. Your legs are straight. Do your hips move? No, they don't. What's tricky is you have to bend your knees. Now your hips can move. Those legs are straight, your hips aren't going anywhere. Keep those legs bent, keep the feet about a hips width apart. Okay, everybody got that? All right, we're seeing thumbs up? Okay, so what we're gonna do first is a hip lift. What you're gonna do, all you're gonna do is you're gonna straighten your right knee. And your hip is gonna go up. Is that working? Already got the hip going up? Just straighten the, now make sure you keep both feet on the floor. Do not pick up your heels. All you're doing is moving your hip straight up. Yeah, just move your knee up. You straighten your leg and move so your hip goes up. Now try it on the other side. Everybody got that? Now up. Now alternate. Simple, right? As long as those knees are bent. Very easy. And yet, when you have your torso engaged, it's also very good for toning. All right, now that you've got that one, go to another nice, easy one. This is the hip circle. You've already got the hip out. You know how to do that. You move your hip, you move your You keep your torso straight. If when you're starting, you want to put your hands on your torso to make sure it doesn't move, that's fine. But keep your head straight, don't tilt your head. Keep your knees bent, and move your hip to the right. Then move your hip, just your hip, to the left. To the right, to the left, to the right, to the left. Now, move your hips to the back. Keep your back straight. Move your hips to the front. It's not a pelvic tilt. You're keeping your belt line totally flat. Move to the back, move to the front, move to the back, move to the front. Now put it all together. Move your hip out to the right, to the back, to the left, to the front. To the right, to the back, to the left, to the front. You go around in a circle. With this camera and the way the screen is, I can't see the grimaces on your faces, but I hope you're smiling. Now we're going to go the other way. We're going to go to the left, to the back, to the right, to the front, to the left, to the back, to the right, to the front. And go around in a nice smooth circle. Everybody feel pretty comfortable with that one?
Yep.
Okay, good. So now we're going to break that down, and we're going to do a vertical figure 8. So what we're going to do first is we're going to make the right side go around in a little circle, and then the left side go around in a little circle. So take your right hip and bring it to the front. Then bring it to the side, which is just like doing that circle, and then to the back. Then bring it to the front, then to the right, and then to the back. Right, up front, to the right, and to the back. Go around in a circle, a little bitty circle. It's that knee that's doing all the work. You're keeping the rest of your body nice and straight. All right, let's try it on the other side. Give yourself a little break. Bounce a little bit as you need to. Now we're going to go forward on the left hip, around to the left and back. Forward, around to the left and back. Forward, around to the left and back. So now let's put it all together. Everybody ready for that one? Okay, so you're going to go to the, on the right, you're going to go to the front, to the side, to the back, to the left, front, side, back. Right, left. You're just making little circles. You're keeping your torso still. It's just your hips that are, and your knees that are moving. All right, let's do it the other direction. Let's start on the left and go back instead of front for the first. So you go back to the left, bring it to the front. Make a little, just do little circles on the left with the going backwards part. Hold your torso if you need to, so you can really see what's happening. And then try the right. Go around to the back, go around to the back and the front. And you put that together. So you go back, left, front, right, back, right, front. And around again. Keep smiling. Keep breathing. Keep breathing. All right. You're halfway through, ladies and gentlemen. You're doing a great job there. Okay. Now what we're going to do is a vertical chest lift. Now, I have seen lots of male belly dancers, guys. When they do these chest lifts, they're usually wearing a vest covered in coins or pearls. But they move those chests and they make a lot of jiggle and a lot. So I want to see you guys really do this. Pretend you're holding a string above your head and pull your chest up and let it down. Pull your chest up, let it down. Chest up, chest down. Now your shoulders are still down. You're not tilting your head. You're just going straight up with your chest and down. Up and down. Okay? Easy, right? Okay. Now we're going to do something that, if you have arthritis in your neck, be really careful on this one. This one's a head slide. So put your hands, so you have something to aim for. Put your hands by your head. And just slide your head gently to the right. Don't tilt your head. Just slide your head. And then to the left. To the right. To the left. To the right. To the left. If you hear a creak and it's arthritis, don't worry about it. If there's anything more serious, stop. So you go to the right and you go to the left. Okay, now, if you wanted to get fancy, of course, you could do a figure 8 with your head or with your chest. You know, all these body parts can do all of these different things. We're only going to keep it really basic today, but you could do a figure 8 where you're going this way too. So you're doing it vertically and not horizontally. That's a little harder with the head. I would think that one I've not tried. Anyway, so now we're going to do hands. You've gotten all these parts of the body all warmed up, so now it's the hands. So you've been having them out here by your side. What you want to do is lead with your middle finger and just pretend you're scooping jelly out of a jar. With little wrist circles. You can go the other way, whichever way feels better for you. Little circles. Little circles. Now we're going to bring those little hands with those little circles in toward the center and cross them. And go up. And then back around. Keep your knees bent. Keep your posture. Your tushes under your hips. Go around again. All right, does anybody have any questions before we put all of this together? All's quiet on the Eastern Front. Okay, so now, hopefully you can hear the music. So we're going to do 4 of each thing. We're starting with a hip lift. Okay, so we're going to go up on the right and then on the left. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. And then a large hip circle. 2, 3, 4. Now the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4. And a figure 8 on the right, the left, right, the left, 3, and 4. Now we're going to go to the back. We're going to go left, right, left, right, left, right, left, and right. And now that chest lift. Your head slide. And your hand circles. You don't have to stand perfectly still. If you want to move those hips, sway a little bit to the music, go right ahead. And go around again. I see some good arm exercise out there. That's excellent. And just one more. You have all done remarkably well. I hope you've had a good time. Does anyone have any questions? I'm going to ask Alexa to turn off our, Alexa, stop the music so that I can come in here and talk to you better. How does that feel, guys? Does anybody have any issues? Anybody have anything they want to ask?
Where do you get those snazzy outfits with vests?
Oh, I can hook you up. I will find you a spot. That'll be great with the vestments. Most of us make our own costumes. Now there are people, the professional dancers actually, of course, have people who make them for them. But back when I was dancing with our troupe, we made pretty much all of our stuff. It kept us off the streets. We were home practicing. It was great fun. Did a lot of, beading to make jewelry and things like that. A good time was had by all.
Baseem?
Yes.
Do you have a pattern, or do you get together as a group and use each other's ideas, or do you have pictures?
I certainly have albums and albums of pictures. I haven't danced with our troupe in 15 years. I brought this out specially for you tonight.
We thank you, we thank you, we thank you.
You're welcome. I thought, we're all stuck at home. We may as well have some fun. It's great exercise. And like I said, you can dance to anything. When Baseem did her first show, she really didn't have any idea how to pick out music that was appropriate. She learned that kind of stuff later. So she danced to Layla by Eric Clapton, which was wonderful. It was just so great. And we use veils, we use zills. The last time I wore this costume, I had a 15-pound chandelier on my head. So when you're dancing, which I didn't say earlier, when you have your head, you want your head flat, pretend you have a basket of grapes on there. It's a lot easier to deal with than a chandelier. But it really helps good posture. And I really think one of the reasons I haven't shrunk as much, because my teacher for 15 years talked about good posture. And you have to keep your head up high, and that helps keep your bones nice and straight so you don't shrink like most of us are going to do eventually anyway. So.
How long did it take you to feel comfortable doing the moves and to get in sync with it all?
It didn't take all that long. Our teacher did have us do recitals, and so you had to do a number with your troupe. Let me show you a picture. This is one of my very first shows. Well, there's my backdrop. Anyway, this was from my very first show. And I did veils, and I love veils. That's something that I don't have enough room in this particular room to do because there are too many things to break. But the beautiful thing about Shalimar is we always had a dress rehearsal. So the night before, you put on all your makeup, all your costume, all the rest of that, and you go through the whole show, which was a daggone good thing because I was scared to death. But my brother came, and he was on the floor in the front taking pictures and smiling, and that just did it all. I mean, my fear just then left. But in that same show, that's what the Gwazi number. This was my partner. This is Rosa. And she and I danced with these baskets of grapes on our head. Now, partway through, we both forgot what came next at the same time. So that was a little awkward. But we got back into the routine. But it's so much easier to do a solo. Because then if you change things partway through, nobody knows. Because we've done things with veils, like those pictures that Deb put online. That flame dance was so magnificent because all 5 of us had those big veils that we were swirling around like flames. I mean, it was just gorgeous. So, but I have lots and lots of pictures, ma'am. And so if you want to come over when we're not in COVID, I'd be glad to share pictures.
Love it. Would love to see them. Yeah,
because like I said, we did nursing homes, we did the county fair, we just did all kinds of stuff. Oh, Cheryl could tell you about his job.
Okay, I'm off camera here, but when I first started dating Marianne, and then even after we got married, I had a really tough assignment. I became their amateur photographer. So I had to take their pictures, which was at first a bit difficult because I could not anticipate their moves. So I had to watch them really closely. And that was in order to, and learn their routines and anticipate their moves. And, it turned out that was a pretty good job to have.
Yeah, because then Shalimar gave him front row seats all the time. So he was a happy camper. But then when we were living in Germany, there are a lot of folks coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan. And they weren't coming back with anything. They were coming back on stretchers, and they were lounge stool hospital and not doing very well. And I had found a teacher in Germany. First, it was a German class, and that didn't go over very well because not enough of the girls wanted to speak English, and I didn't know enough German. So one of the other American Wives was a belly dancer, and we got up a little troupe there and did do classes. And we put on a show to raise money for the Landstuhl soldiers.
Wonderful.
All donations, all donations. We didn't want to charge. And most people came thinking, oh my God, here are a bunch of housewives.
Mhm.
Well, we had the best MC because our sponsor was the head chaplain for the whole barracks.
Oh,
All
So-
right.
So Cheryl was our MC and he was our host. So people didn't think that we were just a bunch of stupid wives. And we raised $500 in donations that night.
Great.
wonderful.
And that was a really great thing that we did.
When people evaluate dancing,
Yes.
what are the criteria? What are the points that make it really good?
Well, it really depends on what part of the world you're in. Because one of the things I forgot to say was what most people think of as a belly dancer are the girls in the spangly costumes with the bare midriff and the really high heels. The cabaret dancing. That's not tribal. That's not ethnic. That's not folkloric. That's that's entertainment, right? This is something the women do together by themselves, and I really don't know what it, other than isolating, making sure you move the parts of the body that you want to move, and not the rest of you. And and the smoothness.
Smoothness of movements and transitions.
Yeah, and variety of steps that you can do and know.
And movement.
And there are lots and lots of steps. So,
Lots of movements.
I don't know how better to answer that one.
No, that's helpful. It sounds like it's primarily enjoyment and creativity.
It is. The precision, if you're a professional, is a whole different thing than if you're there with your sisters and your mom and you're dancing in the courtyard because you're not allowed out of the house. So that's that's how I've always looked at it anyway. That may not be what the real Middle Easterners do, or the real Greeks or the real people of ballet folklorico or whatever, but yeah.
If Baseem says it, I believe it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
But it really does embrace the person's curves, whether it's a male dancer or a female dancer. And it can be a sensual dance. One of the things, when we danced at Marlborough Day, for example, they were going to pay our troops, so that was going to go into our little fund. Well, they decided they weren't going to pay us, even though they approved our costumes ahead of time, because they thought it was too sensual. But yet they paid the girls who were cheerleaders who were doing pelvic thrusts. And I just, that was really irksome.
That's probably why they paid them.
Yeah, maybe so. But that was really disappointing that we don't go out naked. And we don't, Now, when I was taking lessons in Alabama, one of the things that was really interesting, there were only 2 of us in class because she couldn't get a big group, and it was me and one of my friends. And so she's a 20-something. She's as thin as can be. She could do the moves just great, but she had no life experiences. She couldn't emote. There was a whole different, we were both doing the same moves, but she's kind of like a stick, and you have to have a little bit of experience, I think, or have it inbred like the girls do in the Middle East. I mean, they grow up doing it from when they can walk.
Mm-hmm.
Mary, Baseem,
Yeah. Yes.
are you going to do a dance for us to show us it all put together in a, coherent way?
I hadn't planned on that. I hadn't practiced actually any kind of a routine.
Okay.
Maybe,
You can make up a little bit of that.
yeah, but I don't even know which music to pick.
Don't worry.
Yeah, let's do it.
And you can also tell the photographer to mind his own business. But that's
I'm with you. But anyway, it is.
Not the first time I've been told that, Ken.
It is fun. It's just. When I was doing it a lot was the time that I was single for 10 years before I met Cheryl, and it really was a good way to feel better about myself because I really didn't. at the time, and so it was the camaraderie of the women is just marvelous. And in fact, that first show, I only had one skirt, and one of the other girls said, "Oh, you can't just go out with one skirt. Here, use one of mine. You need to have a little more pizzazz there." So we all helped each other out. Now you can talk about we can say
I
when we
will
first
say,
met.
as you can see, she has done better in terms of pizzazz.
Now, and on our first date, most of you have heard this story, but Cheryl said, "Would it bother you if I told you I was a chaplain?" And I said, "Well, only if it bothers you if I tell you, even if I tell you that I haven't been to church in a really long time." And so he thought that was all right. You know, we got along fine. And then we're there on our first date, and I'm thinking, how do I tell this guy who's a chaplain, he's an Army chaplain, that my hobby is belly dancing? Well, I did, and he said he did a mental hua. So, so that was okay by him. So, and I guess the rest is history.
I thought, what's not to like?
Yeah.
So anyway, well, I am glad you all came out tonight. I really do appreciate the support.
Thank you, Marianne.
You're very welcome, Madeline, and thank you for inviting your friend to come along.
That's okay.
Wonderful.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.